Hi gamers, welcome back. It's Workshop. This is the D&D Hobbyist channel. This is my recap for July. So I just wanted to touch base, make a little video. It's been a couple of weeks now. So we got together. Out of my 4 players, we had 3 people show up. The longest term player, Dayton, was feeling ill. Probably got the COVID. I got the COVID last week, so I'm just coming out of quarantine now. I tested negative on the rapid test today, so back to work tomorrow. But we had 3 of us here for our Sunday monthly, and this is the 3rd session into Tomb of Annihilation. So they are leaving Port Nyanzaru and heading out into the jungle. So Dayton wasn't here, so we didn't have his human cleric of the death god Jurgle. His name is Beauregard, Bony Butt. So he was not here. We just kept him around as an NPC. I played him a little bit, but I didn't really play him. I shot a crossbow most of the time whenever I played him, which is not what he would be doing. So, yeah, Dayton was not here. Nick was here. He was playing his human wizard, war mage, warcaster, battlecaster, Wayne. He was here. Connor was here with Uriel, half-elf, rogue thief, and finally, who was it? Oh, the new guy, Gabe. So Gabe was here with his half-orc barbarian. So we had covered a lot of stuff in Discord, tried to cover a lot of stuff in Discord, and got a lot of information pumped out to them. Let them ask about things. Like, I had initially given them the entire wiki on Terrafolk because Uriel had asked about Terrafolk and had plenty of time to get that information. What I did was I said that there were really 2 places where they could get information in Port Nyanzaru. And one was through the guy that they were staying with, Wakanga, I think, the prince, information and maps, etc. So he had a storefront, and you could deal with I believe it was a human there named Rutherford. You could deal with Rutherford and basically tell him what you wanted, and he could see if he could get the information, and he could sell it to you. So if you really wanted information, you could pay him, and you would get exactly the information you wanted. Or there was a temple per shrine, house, a hoarding situation that was run by a half-elf lady named April. And April just had bits and baubles and pieces of everything there. And I just said, there wasn't really a good filing system. There was a shrine to Agma. You could donate to the shrine, and it would cast comprehend languages on you. And several of the players wanted to stay there and rifle through. So they got snippets about information about Naga. They got snippets of information about Ubtao and Mesro and the Bara. Nothing about Ras Nasi, but that did come up in the session. Information about the Batiri goblins. Information... just lots of information about different stuff, but not super comprehensive, just chunks of stuff here and there. So they had all of this information. They had purchased, they were having magical weapons built, and so right before they left, they said, they went to pick those up. Uriel got a rapier, and his rapier was a nice new rapier, and they got a +1 great axe for the half orc, and I said that was a very used axe. So he acquired a +1 great axe as very, it was probably hundreds of years old. It was definitely not new. The wood was very dark. There was chips and chunks out of it all over. Finagled the price a little bit, got future discounts, stuff like that. So everybody was happy. They got their items. They were feeling a little bit more confident. we set out into the jungle. So again, these guys, they have multiple guides. So they have who I feel is the best guide, which is Eku, the Coatl. They don't know she's a Coatl. And they had Azaka, who was the were-tiger, who is also a very good guide. They do not know she was a were-tiger. And then they had the druid and Vegapygmy. So Vegapygmies are different than Myconids. Vegapygmies are the result of russet mold. Whenever russet mold kills a humanoid, then these Vegapygmies can be born as spores out of that. So they are mushroom people, but they're different than Myconids. They're a different strain. So yeah, I didn't know that last time. I looked it up. They're usually friends. Myconids view the Vegapygmies as more feral or primal. Like they're the Appalachians of the plant folk. So yeah, they started out. I'm using a companion that I bought, I think, through the DM's Guild. It has all of the random encounters for every day rolled out. So, we're rolling survival, or we're rolling for foraging for food. We're getting different plants and nuts and different things, and they're learning this stuff and writing it down, which they kind of seem into. It's kind of boring to me, but they were very interested in writing some of this stuff down and getting it. They are getting water whenever they were tempted with clear running water. They were like, oh, we're not drinking that. And, I mentioned Beauregard can purify food and water. They're doing that all the time. So these guys are playing it very safe as far as disease, etc. in the jungle, which is really cool. As far as it's cool for them. They're not going to get surprise diseased or what have you. Yeah, they're just being very careful. They were never really even told not to. They just immediately were like, So we're traveling. The way that I explained it was that everyone basically deferred to Azaka. The first place that they were going was to Firefinger, and I said that everybody was deferring to Azaka, and Azaka got off path once, and the two kind of corrected her and got everybody back on the path. And then at one point, because Uriel's been rolling every time everybody else rolls, so another time we were getting really close to Firefinger, and she failed, and then everybody else failed. And I said, while they were traveling, like, a conversation went up. Like, Eku started talking to the druid, basically saying, this doesn't feel right, but I don't know which way we should go, kind of thing. And Uriel rolled and knew, like, he was like 24 or something. He knew exactly which way they needed to go. And he had Wayne. So Wayne did a Find Familiar last session, the previous session, the June session, and got like an Archaeopteryx. I said it was like Hotson, which Hotson's like a South American bird. The stats are a hawk, but it just looks a lot more prehistoric type. So he said, hey, send your bird up. Find out where Firefinger is. You should be able to see it from here. And he flew up and could see Firefinger and could see lots of Terrafolk flying around and everything. And so redirected the party and got them headed in the right direction. So twice the one guide failed, and once everybody failed except for Uriel. So good on them. I mean, they just beelined right to the place. They just did amazing. So we did several encounters. One encounter was a bunch of brontosauruses, and they were like at a pool, and they were eating this root, and off in the distance they could see a bunch of zombies. And we had said that the druid wanted to kill any undead that they came across. So they wanted to skirt the party away from the zombies and take them around without him realizing what that was. And they were successful. So there was a little bit of a encounter, a little bit of a hazard. There was alternate ways of getting through it without killing all the zombies. So they overcame that one. Another one, they came up on an area that was very icy. While they were exploring the icy area, they got attacked by terrafolk. They were killing the terrafolk, and a guy came out of the tree line, blasted one of the terrafolk, and was like, "Thanks for the help," and like manifested this huge ice vulture and flew away. And that was Arcticember, and they were like, "What the hell?" I didn't really know what to think about that guy. Like 2 days later, they had an encounter with the Frost Giant Princess, and the Frost Giant Princess, comes through the trees and asks about Arcticember, and the party was cool with her, so she was cool with them, and she basically just camped with them, and now has them concerned for Arcticember. She has convinced the party that he has an artifact that a mortal human should not have, that is evil and has a corrupting influence on him and is driving him crazy. And from what they saw, that kind of supports the argument. So, knowing that he's a Harper and knowing they're sort of proxies of the Harpers, I'm sure they want to help him. I think they're going to want to help him. I'm going to try to tie it back in with Dragonbait a little later on, see if we can get a little more story going. Or the half-elf that's looking for him, that's a double agent. I'd like to do a little more with his story. Eku told them the story of the history of Chult on the first day. About in the Dawn Age there were primordials, and then as the gods of Faerun came up, they were warring with the primordials, and the primordials were betrayed by Ubtao. Ubtao the deceiver, the betrayer, and how he basically imprisoned Dindar and helps the gods defeat those guys, the primordials, in exchange for Chult and being left alone in Chult. And now, with everything with Mesro, and he's taken Mesro away, and explained the Bara, and explained who Ras Nasi was, because they kept finding the zombies with the blue triangle on their forehead. And that was another encounter that they'd had. But Ras Nasi, for anyone who hasn't read the adventure, Ras Nasi was a Bara. So he's basically one of the 6 or 7 paladin guardians of Mesro. Mesro is the capital city of Chult. It's hand-built by Ubtao. It's like the divine city. And these Bara are the defenders of Mesro. And there was a love triangle, and Ras Nasi was a necromancer and went out into the jungle and raised a giant undead army and had a temple on top of giant tortoises, undead tortoises, and all kinds of stuff, and marched on Mesro, and Mesro wasn't there. So that's where all the undead come from, is that they were the remnants of his army that never got to attack Mesro and kill everybody in Mesro. And he went to the Yuan-Ti, and the Yuan-Ti performed a ceremony on him to make him an abomination or something. So he's like a snake centaur kind of thing. He's kind of undead. I don't know if he's undead or he's a lich now. I haven't really read up on him too much. I'm not planning on getting to him for a while. So Ras Nasi. So now they know Ras Nasi. They know all these blue triangle undead. they're starting to put together some of the stories. We had the great encounter. So we had the best encounter of the whole thing, which is the Tyrannosaurus. So they come up on a clearing. There's a Tyrannosaurus laying on its side. There's light. It's just twilight. There's light coming out of the Tyrannosaurus on the other side. They sneak up on it. They can see there's like a hand inside with a ring on it that's glowing, and it's like glowing up half the clearing and everything. And they if they go inside, if they can't get the ring off because it's more than 5 pounds of pressure, so they have to climb into the T-Rex to pull the ring off. So these guys weren't going to do that. They were scared to death of this T-Rex, and they knew it was undead, and they were like, let's all ready. We'll all ready. As soon as anything moves, we're just going to nuke it. Like, everybody's going to nuke it. Everybody's going to, okay, everybody ready, everybody's ready. And they just, like, never really set it off. And then Uriel just, like, stabbed it. So he got, like, two backstabs. And everybody else got, like, an attack. Well, what it was Uriel got surprise, and then we did initiative, and the T-Rex was last on the initiative. So everybody got an attack. Uriel's second attack. And then the T-Rex got to go, and he missed. And he missed, and disgorged a zombie. And then everybody attacked again. I feel like he attacked again. Like, he attacked again and hit Wayne. And Wayne used a shield, and it missed. So then everybody got attacked again. So everybody got like 3 full rounds of attacks on it and was able to kill it. And he didn't get any, like, actual hits on anybody, but a decent roll on his hits would have one-shot him. And they were level 5, so now they're level 6. I said that they were level 6 after the T-Rex and Firefinger. So I guess our encounters were, Arc December, the Frost Giant Princess, the T-Rex, the Brontosauruses, right? It was 6 days. I think we had 5 or 6 encounters. But it went really well. Everybody was really into it. We got to Firefinger. They just went straight to the top of Firefinger. They didn't mess with any of the caves. They just went right to the top. They were drinking potions of climbing. They were using guidance. They were working really well, and went right to the top. They killed like 2 or 3 Terrafolk that were on top. Then they went in the tower and tried to draw them down into the tower, and they killed a couple there, and they killed a couple outside the door to the tower, and that was kind of the highlight. Was before they were fighting the people on the tower, there was like a 5-foot hole, like a manhole cover, like a hole in the floor that went down to the 3rd level, because they were on the 4th level. And they were like, can we put a rock over it? Do we have anything we could put it? Could we trap it? Could we do anything? Is there anything we could do to block this? Because there's probably going to be more Terrafolk down there. We don't want them to come up here. What can we do to prevent the Terrafolk from coming up here? And they were all like scratching their head. And I said, Bo had 2 flasks of oil and was like, slosh, slosh, slosh. Hey, slosh, slosh, slosh. And they were like, yes, but no. He's a good idea, but we're going to wait on that a little bit. So that was kind of my one shining NPC role play. Was I was playing Bo, and I wanted to set the finger on fire. So transpires were fighting, and these guys, these guys aren't especially tough for level 5 guys. These level 5 guys are well equipped. Like, they're just rolling these guys, and Azaka's there. Oh, that was the other one. So the other encounter was they found a shrine to Ub Tao with a maze, and they did the maze, and like stairs opened up, and they were just in a big, like 80 by 80 stone underground room, and they rested down there, and it was just like a safe place for them to rest. And they decided to split the party and leave everybody in there with their dinosaurs and everything where it was safe, and they were going to continue on a day and a half to Firefinger, and that way, you know, not everybody was going to be in danger. Not everybody was. It made sense. It works. So yeah, that was one of the other encounters. So they're fighting in the tower. People are coming down. The boss Terrafolk comes down. Fight. At this point, there are 2 Terrafolk flying around outside, and one Terrafolk that's very, very badly hurt that jumped down the hole. So they were out of combat, but they were still in initiative. And Wayne says he goes to Boney, and he says, "Throw that oil down the hole. Throw that oil down the hole, and I'm going to drop a fireball down there, because we know that one guy went down there, and he's probably getting help." So, plang, plang, threw him down there, boom, and then they heard like a scream that was not a Terrafolk. They heard Terrafolk, but then they also heard something that wasn't Terrafolk, and then they felt terrible. Oh my goodness, what did he do to us? So they eventually killed off the other ones that were flying around. So they climbed down into Firefinger, where they'd set off the fireballs. The Eric Cocker had saved on the fireball, and the oil hadn't made it to him. I said that the one wounded one and the 4 elderly that are supposed to be in there were dead and burned and gone, and the Eric Cocker was still alive. Bo healed him. He's up to full. He explains, you know, you'll always have a haven in Kursabal, which is where he lives. It's a monastery. He explained to him everything. How he got trapped and captured. Oh, they also, Azaka was fighting with them, and she was not doing especially well, so she fanged out. She assumed her were-tiger hybrid form. So they have not discussed that with her since then, but that did happen, and that's something they're probably going to need to deal with. So they got all of the loot out of here. They gave the mask back to Azaka, so her services are paid for. I've played it so that Azaka knows that they are the real deal heroes, and she's really kind of along for the ride. Like she's on board and wants to help. So she's along just for adventures and to help guide them around. Yeah, went really well. Very, very complimentary. A lot of very positive feedback. Everybody was very happy. Sorry that Dayton wasn't there for the T-Rex, but everybody else had a great time. You know, Gabe, this is his second full session, and he was having fun, rolling dice, you know, raging. Yeah, really good. The next one, they're going to be off to the Needlebones. And then they may go to Oralunga to talk to the Oracle, which is kind of far. They kind of want to talk to the Oracle about Nangalore, about the Taj Mahal floating garden type place, whatever it is, because the NPC I introduced from the Lord's Alliance that Wayne had as a contact, that's what he was doing, was going for Nangalore and Oralunga first. So they've kind of glommed onto that, but they did mention the Soulmonger a couple times. They did mention the Death Curse a couple of times. Yeah, they mentioned both of those to the princess, the Frost Giant princess. She didn't know anything about either of those. You know, she's trying to recover the Ring of Winter and has been here for several weeks. Nobody else. You know, I just said, you know, the people that are local here, They don't really know any of that stuff going on. That's more, you know, big Forgotten Realms movers and shakers type stuff. So that's what's going on. I did say that they could level, so now everybody will be level 6. And the next session is just in a couple of weeks. Like I said, that was our... No, that wasn't our July session. That was our June session. So our July session's coming up here in a couple of weeks. And I hope that it goes well, too. Right now, it seems like 4 people is a good idea. If I can get 3 of them here, then we can continue. 3 people seems to be like the least that I really want. I like to have 3 or 4. It's just more fun. It just has more energy. So that's still going. Oh, my Saturday group came back together again. So we actually had a session for my Saturday monthly group that I play in. So good news for that. Oh, everything's coming up Millhouse for as far as D&D goes around here. So that's really good. And I think that's about all I have. I was going to show you some stuff, but I don't have my stuff. I didn't really prepare. As soon as I get time to do a video, I just come down and do a video. So I guess until next time, thanks for watching. Game on.